The alarm cut through the academy hallway before I even reached my classroom door. A sharp, pulsing tone that made every alien student around me freeze mid-step. Red light washed over the ceiling panels. My heart jumped straight into my throat. "Containment breach, lower biology wing," the ship's voice announced. "All students proceed to the nearest secure room immediately." I did not move toward the secure room. I moved toward the noise, because I knew exactly what had broken loose, and I knew exactly what I had brought to class that morning. Biscuit. My wolf dog had been resting under my desk when the professor stepped out to answer a call, and in the 2 minutes she was gone, something in the lower wing had gotten free, tripping half the sensors in the building. If Biscuit smelled danger before I did, she would not wait for permission to act. She never did. I sprinted down the corridor, dodging 2 Rizari students who were pressed flat against the wall, scales flashing pale with fear. A Tholaxian professor grabbed my arm as I passed. "Human, the far door is sealed for a reason," he said, 4 eyes wide. "There is a predator loose down there." "I know," I said, pulling free. "She's mine." His face went through something between confusion and horror as I kept running, because on this station, the word predator did not usually mean a creature that answered to a name. The lower biology wing held specimen tanks from a dozen worlds, most of them harmless, a few of them not. As I reached the heavy double doors, they slid open just wide enough for me to slip through, and the air inside hit me like a wall, thick with the smell of ozone and spilled coolant. Glass littered the floor. One containment tank near the back wall had been shattered from the inside, and something had clearly climbed out of it. I heard a low growl echo from behind a row of steel cabinets, familiar and steady, not panicked, not desperate. Biscuit's growl. She was not attacking anything, she was holding a line. I moved closer, careful with each step, my shoes crunching over broken glass. Around the corner, I found her standing between 2 overturned cabinets, and a creature I did not recognize. Something the size of a large dog but built low and fast, with plated skin the color of wet stone, and claws that clicked softly against the metal floor as it shifted its weight. It was not attacking Biscuit, it was pacing, testing her, looking for an opening that she refused to give it. "Easy, girl," I said quietly, and her ears flicked toward me without her eyes ever leaving the creature. A voice crackled through a nearby speaker, tense and clipped. "Human student, do not approach the specimen. It escaped containment during a power fluctuation. We do not know its full behavior pattern." "She's already handling it," I called back, keeping my voice steady even though my hands were not. "Just tell me what it eats before it decides to test that on either of us." There was a pause, then the voice returned, quieter now. "It is a Drenok cave hunter, native to a moon with almost no light. It hunts by vibration, not sight. Loud movement will provoke it." Good to know, and terrible timing, because at that exact moment, another student came skidding around the corner behind me, boots slamming against the floor in a full panic, and the creature's head snapped toward the noise instantly, plated shoulders bunching low. "Stop," I said, sharp and fast, throwing a hand up. The student, a young Alith girl with iridescent scales gone pale gray, froze so suddenly she nearly fell over. Her shimmer moth companion clung to her shoulder, wings folded flat, color drained to almost nothing. The Drenok hunter's attention split for half a second between 3 points of interest: me, Biscuit, and the frightened girl behind me. And in creatures like that, a split second of confusion is either an opening or a disaster. Biscuit chose the opening. She did not lunge. She stepped sideways, slow and deliberate, placing her body directly between the hunter and the girl, closing the angle so the creature had exactly one direction left to look, and that direction was straight at me and at Biscuit together. "Good girl," I whispered, and I meant it with everything I had. The hunter's plated head swung back toward us, claws scraping the floor as it shifted weight from paw to paw. I could see the muscles along its shoulders coiling, It was deciding something, and I did not like the odds of that decision going our way if nobody helped tip it. I remembered something my grandfather used to say about wild dogs back home, that confidence without noise was the only language predators respected, because noise meant fear, and fear meant weakness, and weakness meant opportunity. So I stood taller, planted my feet, and did not run. "Back door," I said quietly to the girl behind me. "Move slow. Do not look at it. Go now." She nodded and began edging backward toward the exit, one careful step after another, her moth trembling silently on her shoulder. The Drenok hunter's ears, if they were ears, twitched toward the sound of her retreat, but Biscuit shifted her stance again, drawing the attention right back. The ship's voice returned, calmer this time, almost hopeful. "Security team is 30 seconds out, with a containment net. Human student, if you can keep the specimen stationary, do not engage further." 30 seconds is a long time when you are staring at claws that could open a person up without much effort, but I had faced longer waits with far less reason to trust the outcome. Biscuit had never once let me down, not in 5 years, not through storms, not through strangers, not through anything. The hunter took one step forward, testing the space between us, and Biscuit answered with a low, rolling growl that seemed to vibrate through the floor itself. It was not aggression for the sake of aggression. It was a boundary, drawn clearly enough that even a creature built for darkness and silence understood exactly where it ended. The Drenok hunter stopped. For 3 long seconds, nothing moved except dust, drifting through the red emergency light, and I realized I had stopped breathing somewhere in the middle of that silence. Then the far doors hissed open, and 4 security officers rushed in with a wide mesh net stretched between 2 long poles, moving with practiced coordination. The hunter's head snapped toward the new noise immediately, and its focus broke. "Now," I said to Biscuit, soft but firm, and she gave ground exactly 2 steps, drawing the creature's attention with her, buying the officers the angle they needed. The net came down clean, wrapping around the hunter's shoulders before it could react, and the creature thrashed once, twice, then went still as a low hum from the net settled its nervous system into calm. Within seconds, it was secured, lifted onto a transport cart, and wheeled away toward a proper containment unit. The tension in my chest did not leave right away. It rarely does, even after the danger is gone. Biscuit trotted over to me, tail low but wagging, and pressed her head against my leg, the way she always did when she wanted to know if I was proud of her. "You did perfect," I said, kneeling down to hold her face in both hands. "Absolutely perfect." The Aelith girl reappeared from behind the cabinets, still shaking slightly, her moth beginning to regain a faint blue color on its wings. She looked at Biscuit, then at me, then back at Biscuit again. "It protected me," she said quietly. "It did not know me. It still stood in front of me." "She protects anyone who needs it," I said. "That's just who she is." One of the security officers walked over, helmet under his arm, breathing a little heavy from the sprint. "That was reckless, running in here alone." "She wasn't alone," I said, nodding down at Biscuit. "I was just catching up." He looked at Biscuit for a long moment, something shifting behind his eyes, respect mixed with disbelief. "On my planet, we do not bring animals like that anywhere near a school. We keep them far away, behind walls, behind guards. On mine, we let them sleep next to us," I said. "Some things are worth trusting completely, once they've earned it." Professor Vren Koss arrived a minute later, moving quickly despite her age, robes trailing behind her. She took one look at the shattered tank, then at Biscuit, sitting calmly beside me, tail sweeping the floor in slow, contented strokes. "You held the hunter in place," she said, more statement than question, eyes wide with something between shock and admiration. "She did," I said. "I just tried not to get in her way." The professor knelt slowly, keeping a respectful distance, studying Biscuit with real curiosity now instead of fear. Your species built partnerships with creatures capable of this, she said quietly. Not cages, partnerships. That's the whole idea, I said. You do not tame something like her by controlling her. You do it by becoming someone she wants to protect. Word of what happened spread through the academy faster than any official report could travel. By the time classes resumed the next day, students from 3 different wings had already come to see Biscuit for themselves, standing at a respectful but curious distance, watching her the way you might watch something rare and important, not because she was frightening anymore, but because she had proven something about trust that none of their carefully studied textbooks had ever explained quite so clearly. Biscuit, for her part, simply enjoyed the attention, leaning into every gentle scratch behind her ears, tail wagging steadily, completely unaware that she had just changed how an entire alien academy thought about loyalty. I sat beside her that evening, watching the stars shift slowly outside the observation window, her head resting heavy and warm against my knee, and I understood something I had always known but never said out loud until that moment. She was not just an animal I had brought from home. She was proof that some bonds are stronger than fear itself, strong enough to hold steady even when the entire universe felt unfamiliar and uncertain. And that was a lesson worth more than any grade this school could ever give me.